Hello friends, myself Professor Vinod Pillai. Welcome to C programming session. In today's session, we'll be taking two major topics in the C. That is, one is structure and second is file IO. I'm not going to go in detail about structures and files. My main aim of today's session is how we can store the data that is stored in structures into the files. We can use file as a temporary database. In C, whenever you have any projects or a mini project in your career and you want to store some data instead of database, you have the best option is the file option. Okay, so in today's session we'll be seeing that how we can do those things. Secondly, before we go further, I just want to know that you should have a basic understanding of structures and file operations, because I'll not be covering mainly all the points of it. I'll be just giving you an overview, or you can say a program which will show how you can do this task. I'll not be explaining each and every points of file IO in C or structures in C. So if you have any queries regarding that, you can post me through mail or my YouTube one. I may think about to create a video on structures of file IOs on basis of the request. So let's currently see how we can store the data which are there in the structures into the files. Basically, we would like to have four major operations. That is, one, we want to add, or you can say an append or record into the file. Secondly, we would like to update existing record from file. Third, we would like to delete a record, and fourth, we would like to display the record. And fifth, if it possible display, then we can definitely do the search operation also. So we'll be covering all these, how we can do all these tasks in the C using structures and files. Let's get into the program. I've already created the program. I've done this program in Linux, so you'll be finding some of the functions which are not there in Turbo C. So if you're a Windows user and you're using Windows Turbo C, okay, so I'll just tell you in which places you have to use that particular functions. Some of the changes for the new users: one is that in Linux you don't have void main, so the main function goes to integer main. Secondly, you don't have clr, scr and getch function, because conio.h header file is not available in Linux. It's only available in Windows Turbo C. So I have created my own functions for that, for getch and all. We don't have to go in detail into that. We'll be just more concentrating of how to do the structures in files. First and foremost, you should know why we need to create a structure. A structure is a user defined data type. If you want to store 10, you have integer. If you want to store 10.56, you have float. If you want to store a, you can use the data type as character. If you want to store Vinod, then you have a character array. So basically you have n number of data types for n number of values. But if someone says you want to store the data of an employee, if you want to say, someone wants to say you want to store the data of a student. Now student can have a roll number, can have a name, can have marks, can have date of birth. That means it can't be stored in single data type. So the C concept says that in such situations you have two options. That is, you can create your own data type using structure or union. Both of them use the same concept that allows you to create the user defined data type. I'll not go into detail of what is the difference and all those things. Let's see and start creating it as directly a structure. So I came up with an understanding that I want to store employees detail, who is having an ID, who is having a name, and who is having a salary. So I came up that there is no such data type which can store all these things in single value. So I've decided I should create a user defined data type as a structure. So I first of all created struct emp, that is my structure name, and all the three values or data types which you would like to have the values. I've created user defined functions: append, display, display all, modify, delete, search, rname and rremove. Rname and rremove is for renaming the files and deleting the database file. Okay, that's an extra part, but we can do that also. Secondly, I've created my own getch. It is not important because it's only for the Linux only. I've stored the file name, okay, because as such you can see that the structure I'm going to store it, structure is going to be stored in the form of bytes, so it is better to store in the dat file instead of txt file. So I've created a character array. which will have my file name. It is better option to create a character array because it helps you to, even if you want to change the database name, you can do so. I've created integer main, then I've started a while loop 1. Okay, I'll just show you the output what I'm expecting or what I'm getting right now, so you can get an idea what I want to say. It says Linux, so I have to compile it. I get an out file. It's a warning, just forget about warning. I'm getting something like this, an employee management system which have so many options, that is append, modify, delete, search, display all, rename, delete and exit. Let's append it first. I say append, it's asking me an ID. I say ID as 1, name as suppose Vinod, salary as suppose 5,000. Okay, the record is appended. Let's see whether it's happening or not. I say 6, it's displays. Okay, you have one employee with ID as 1 Vinod and 5,000, so it's going according to our plan. Again I want to append. I just time I give an ID as 2 and I say salary as 7,000. Let's see whether it has been appended or not. Okay, fine, it's working. Okay, and you can see I have a display which is I'm searching by ID, so I specify the ID as 2, so it will give me only the detail of that particular record. That is basically a search functionality. Okay, so if I want to modify, okay fine, I say ID, I want to modify the ID as 1, which was previously name was Vinod. I just change into V. His salary was some 5,000 or something. I change it to 9,000. I just again display it, and you can see the record which was there as Vinod is being modified. And let's delete it also. Okay, so I select 3. It's asking me the ID to be deleted. I set the 2, the Amit ID, and now I said just display it, and it's working out. So these all things I want to have it. Okay, just for the purpose whether it is storing in the files or not, I'll just exit from the program and run it once again, and I say 6, display all. So data is being stored, it is not in the memory, it is being transferred into a secondary storage device that's in my hard disk. So I can say my program is working. This is something what I was expecting from it. Okay, I just get it out of it. Let's see how to do this. First and foremost, you can see the screen which is coming n number of times unless and until I press exit. So you need a while loop 1, that is an infinite loop which asks you all the times what option you would like to have it. So for that I've created a while 1. Okay, if you're using Turbo C, you should use here a CLR. Okay, because I'm using Linux, so CLR won't work it out here, so I have to use system unclear method. So this is just a simple display. I'm just saying him this many options are available. I'm asking him what choice you would like to have. Whatever choice is entering, I'm storing into ch. I'm passing into a switch case which I'm having the n number of options. Okay, switch case, I hope so you know. Case 1 is for append, case 2 is modify, delete, search and all. I've created separate functions for it, and you can see the functions declaration is already done here, and the calling part is you can find here. The third part is the definition. Let's see the append one. So in append, what I'm doing is I'm first created the file pointer. I hope so you know that thing. If any file operations, you need a file pointer. I want to open the file which I want to work it out. I say f name is having the file name. Okay, open in append mode, that too in binary. So ab is the, I'm passing the mode of the file. Then I'm simply asking enter the id. So if you can see, I have created the structure variable. Struct emp is my structure, t1 is my variable name. So I'm entering whatever value is entering, I'm telling enter the id. It is stored in t1's id, it is stored in t1's name, and it is stored in t1's salary. So all the details are stored in t1. Now I would like to transfer the details into the files. So I would like to do it with the help of fwrite function. Fwrite and fread functions are specific functions which is helpful for taking a bunch of, or you can say a block of bytes into the files. Okay, so with the help of fwrite you can transfer a block of bytes to the files, and similarly with the fread you can read a block of bytes from the file. So it says what value you want to store it. I said t1 is the address which I want to take it out. Size of t1, that means what is the size of the block. So size of t1 means what is the structure of the size of t1. So I have specified size of t1. Size of function gives it a size of t1. 1 is specified because how many such blocks are coming. I'm only having 1, so I specified 1. fp is the file pointer, and finally the task is done. So I say simply say file, close it out. So with the help of this function, I call it second time. It's second time also it does the same thing and stores the values to the files. That's been done. I hope so you understand that thing. Second comes is the display. Let's see how a display is been done. Okay, here's the display. Display all function. Okay, so simple task. I open the file, I've created a structure. I'm opening the file with the help of read binary mode. Okay, I've simply displayed the printf functions. I'm saying while1, that is you want to read the file till you find the end of the file or not. Okay, so while1 will rotate n number of times. I'll read the first record and store it into the t. Fread function read the first block of it and stores the data into the t. Okay, and similarly, just okay, so first block of the value is being read and it is stored in t. I'm just saying you do this task continuously unless and until you find end of the file. If once you find the end of the file, just simply say the break, and I'm just displaying the value. The first record is being read, it is checks whether it is the end of the file or not and displays the value. Similarly, it does this task continuously n number of times till it don't finds the end of the file, and similarly simply it closes the file. Let's see what happens with update. If you understand update, I hope so you now understand the search and all. It will not be a much problem. I'll just show you what is happening in display particular id. So in, you can guess, before displaying, in previous one I was displaying simply blankly, I was displaying all the values. Here you don't have to do that. You have to ask an id, you have to read the value, you have to check the whether the read which value you have read that is being compared with the id or not. If they both of them matches, then only the particular value should be displayed. It's almost the same what you were doing in display all. Only thing is you are asking an id and you are verifying that id. If the id matches, then only you have to display. So display and display all, I didn't think so you should have any problems. Search is same. If you are compare in search, I have kept in the name. Okay, so you should be knowing in C you can't compare name with equal to. So in that case you have to use strcmp function. And string compare, I'm comparing the whatever value I've read, whether the name what the user has given me right now and the what the value I've read from the structure from the file into the structure, that name both of them matches or not. If matches, then only the value should be displayed. So we have seen how it's working in, I'll just show you. So we have seen append, we have seen display all. So in append you just simply ask all the datas into the structure and you store into the file with the help of fread. Only thing to remember is you have to open the file in append mode, AB. Display all, you simply open the file in read mode, RB, go till the file 1, end of the file is not happening, display all the values. In display you ask an ID, check the value you have read with the ID, if it matches then only display. It's simple. In search I have kept the name, that is I ask the file name, the student name or employee name. I compare with the help of strcmp because it's a string, and then I displays it. So almost this didn't have any problems, I hope so. Now let's see what happening in update. If you understand update, then you don't have any problems in delete also. I have done update in a safer manner, because when you are doing with structures and all, specifically fread and fread functions, there is alternative method is also available, but it's quite risky. So I have chosen this method. So what I'm doing is, it's a simple logic, it's not basically not, if you understand the logic it's quite easy for you. So it happens something like that. You have an original file which is having 1 2 3 4 and 5. Okay, so you want to, someone says I want to update the record of all details of 3. Okay, so what you do is basically you check, you ask the user what ID you want to update. He says 3. Okay, so create a temporary file, store 1 into it, 2 into it, because it's not matches. When it comes 3, don't write 3, ask user new value for the 3. He enters all the new values into the 3. So 4 and 5 will be simply be copied into the temporary file. This is all done in temp file, you should remember that. Okay, so actual file is not been updated. Then open the actual file or the data file, and simply delete all the records. Okay, and copy all record from temp to back to dat. Okay, so it simply happens that you are just copying the files except the one which you want to update it. Okay, let's see how I'm doing it. So I want to do simultaneous 2 tasks. So I've opened the file in a read mode. The actual file is only open in read mode. I'm creating a temporary file which is open in write mode. I'm asking employee ID which you want to modify. Simply similar way I am reading all the records, fread function. The first record is been read. I'm checking whether it's end of the file or not. If the ID which I have read and the ID which the user have said, okay, the records ID which I have read and the ID which the user has passed, if it matches, okay, then I'm sending the found equal to 1. Okay, I'm asking a new value, I'm getting totally new value for that particular one, and then I'm writing it into it. I'm writing, be careful, I'm writing into the temporary file. fp1 is the temporary file, fp is the actual file. If it is not the case, if the ID didn't match, then simply write whatever you are having, whatever you have read. So you can see what I've explained. So one didn't match, so you write it. 2 didn't match, that's right. 3 matches, then ask the new value, then write it. 4 and 5 you write as it is. So now everything is done in the temporary file. Actual file is not having any changes. So we want to make the actual files, close both the file pointers. If found equal to 0, if found is a 0, that means you don't have any records what you are asking for. Sorry, record not found. Else, then if that's not the case, that means update has been done, but it is in the temporary file. You want to reflect that into actual file. Open both the files once again now, but the actual file be in the write mode, so all the data will be wiped up, the temp file in read mode. Okay, so you simply read it, all the records till the end of the file, and write it into the actual file. Okay, and finally you close the file. The data will be simply be copied, or you can say it's updated. In delete, only thing is you have to remove is what? If the ID matches, don't write anything. Okay, if you don't write it, automatically the record is been deleted. So only change you will find, if ID matches, you don't have to do anything. Basically, if ID matches, this all code goes. Just simply say found equal to 1, that's it. Okay, so you don't have to write anything, you don't have to write new values, don't have to update it, just simply have to delete it. That's all I've done it in delete. I just show you so you get an idea. In delete, if you can see, if ID matches, I'm doing, I'm just saying found equal to 1, that's it. In other all cases, I'm simply writing the old values. Okay, so I hope so you have understood it. Okay, and the 2 more things which is not much important, but you should know it, that you can do it also like that way. That is rename the files. Okay, so I've asked a new name. Okay, I've called the rename function. Okay, and I'm set the name which we have given it into the f name. Okay, and strcpy copies the name into the f name. Okay, with the help of this I can do the rename function. Okay, so rename is a task which I've done it. Okay, I hope so you have understood it. I just repeat it. If I think so some of the people may have problems. Rename function is an inbuilt function, okay, with the help of which you can rename the file. Okay, so I'm saying it, name is a new name which is having the new name which I've asked the user. F name is my character array. Okay, that is my file name. Okay, go and find it and rename that particular file with this name. So it will manually rename it, but you remember that I have created a local variable also, f name. So I have to tell him also that now onwards my db is not thing you have to point, you have to point always the new ones. So how to do that? Then for that I've used strcpy. Simply copy the name into the f name. So this is for local and this is for actual file to be renamed. Remove function, I've just kept a backup option. I'm asking you before deleting, do you want to keep a copy? If he says yes, okay, if the strcpy is yes, I'm asking him a new file name, I'm copying all the values. Okay, but actual remove is done with the help of this. Okay, so remove file name, if you put this much, the file will be deleted, but make sure that thing all the data will be deleted also. So be careful to using this thing. I've kept an backup copy concept. Okay, nothing much in that also logic. I hope so you'll understand it. Simple, it is nothing. I'm asking him the new file name. If he says yes, then I'm asking him what is the new file name. I'm opening both the files, the actual file, the new file name in the write mode, and the actual file in read mode. Completely reading all the data, transferring to the new files, closing both the files, and just removing the old file. Okay, that means my actual database. And because as I have created a backup, so I should now onwards tell him every time that if now onwards f name will be pointing this new file name. So I've used strcpy. If user says I don't want to have a backup, no more work, you simply have to say remove this particular file. Okay, all the records and files will be deleted. Okay, so I hope so you have understood. This is one of the major problems most of the students are facing, mainly the students who are having a projects in C. Okay, in India, GTU in Gujarat, GTU is having most of the students having projects in C, so they have a subject only. So they normally used to have to store the values into the files. They mainly 90% students need to store values in the formal structure only. So I've got enormous questions regarding this, so I've decided finally I should create a video of it and I should show to students this is the way you can find it. I'll put all the codes of this also in my blog. You can get it from there. If you have any queries regarding this, you can post to me. Okay, and if you want to request some other videos regarding this, or maybe some other topics in C++, Android, or any of them, okay, you can email me or post to me. Okay, I'm planning for some networking programming for Java. I'm planning for some videos for Android because there is a huge demand for that also, but I'll see as and when I get time. I'll get into that also. I hope so I have cleared this doubt, and thank you and have a nice day.